Ladies and gentlemen, dreamers, wanderers, and warriors of the unknown, listen close, because today I'm going to tell you something that might just flip your world upside down. And trust me, that's a good thing. You see, life isn't meant to be a straight line. It's not supposed to follow a map with all the turns marked and every bump smoothed out. Life is chaos in disguise, a grand adventure cloaked in mystery. And the moment you stop fighting that uncertainty, the moment you embrace it, everything starts to make sense. Not because the world changes, but because you do. So, let's dive deep into what it really means to embrace uncertainty, and why doing so might just make your life easier, lighter, and infinitely more powerful. Picture this: a stormy night, lightning cracking across the sky, and someone standing alone, staring into the unknown. Their heart is pounding, their mind racing, but still they take a step forward. That moment right there, that's the birthplace of greatness. That's the power of uncertainty. Every story worth telling, every victory worth remembering, begins not with confidence, but with doubt. The heroes we admire, the inventors who shaped our world, the dreamers who refused to stay asleep, they all walked into the fog of the unknown without a guarantee. They didn't have a perfect plan, or a crystal ball, or a safety net waiting beneath them. All they had was a vision burning so bright that the fear couldn't put it out. You see, uncertainty isn't the enemy. It's the proving ground where your strength, courage, and imagination are forged. When life shakes the floor beneath you, when plans collapse, when the map burns, that's when you discover what you're really made of. Because comfort never created a hero. It's the chaos, the confusion, and the questions that shape the person you're meant to become. Think about a seed buried deep in the soil. It's surrounded by darkness, crushed beneath the weight of the earth, with no clue which way is up. But still it grows. It pushes through uncertainty, breaks through the dirt, and reaches toward the light. That's life. That's you. Growth doesn't happen in the sunlight of certainty. It happens in the dark, where you have to trust yourself enough to keep pushing. History is packed with people who turned uncertainty into destiny. Thomas Edison didn't invent the light bulb by knowing what to do. He discovered 1,000 ways that didn't work before he found one that did. Each failure wasn't a setback, it was a lesson, a whisper from the unknown saying, "Try again, you're getting closer." Imagine if he'd quit after the 10th or the 100th attempt. The world might still be sitting in the dark. Or take the story of a young artist who shared their first sketch online, trembling with doubt. They didn't know if anyone would care, or if they'd just be laughed at, but they shared anyway. That single act of bravery, of stepping into uncertainty, opened doors they didn't even know existed. Years later, that same artist is teaching millions how to create, how to believe, how to take that same leap. One decision, one act of trust in the unknown, changed everything. That's the magic of uncertainty. It pushes you beyond what you know, and what you know is always limited. It forces you to improvise, to invent, to adapt. It's like life's own secret training program. Every curveball it throws is an invitation to grow. You don't build courage by reading about it. You build it by standing on the edge of fear and taking the jump. Every time you face uncertainty and move anyway, you strengthen a hidden muscle, the one that whispers, "I'll figure it out." That's where real power lies. It's not in knowing every answer, but in trusting yourself enough to face the questions. Because when you stop needing to know what's next, you start to experience what's now. You start to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You stop waiting for perfect conditions and start creating them yourself. And here's the beautiful irony. The moment you stop running from uncertainty, it stops chasing you. It becomes your companion instead of your curse. You start walking through life with an unshakable calm because you realize you've survived every unknown you've ever faced, every heartbreak, I don't know how moment, you made it through. And that means you can do it again. So, when life throws you into the deep end, don't scramble for the shore. Float. Breathe. Learn the rhythm of the waves, because the water that once terrified you will soon become your home. The darkness that once scared you will reveal the stars that guide you. The truth is, uncertainty is not a void, it's a canvas. Every brushstroke you make, every risk you take, every time you move forward without knowing where the road leads, you're painting your own masterpiece. And maybe, just maybe, that's the whole point. Because when you finally learn to embrace uncertainty, when you stop seeing it as a threat and start seeing it as an invitation, life doesn't get easier because it changes. It gets easier because you do. You become fluid, fearless, and free. You realize that you were never meant to have all the answers. You were meant to explore the questions. And that's when life truly begins. Not when you know what's coming, but when you trust yourself enough to walk into the unknown and say, let's see what happens. Here's something most people don't like to admit. Life doesn't care about our plans. You can draw the perfect map, build the strongest walls, and set every piece exactly where you think it should go, but life will always find a way to shake the board. The truth is, no matter how much we plan, predict, or prepare, life always has a twist waiting just around the corner. It's not out to punish us. It's out to teach us. The real problem isn't uncertainty itself. It's our desperate need to control every single thing around us. Control feels safe. It gives us the illusion that we're steering the ship, that we can command the storms to stop or the tides to slow down. But deep down, we know that's not how it works. Control is like trying to hold water in your hands. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips away. And the more you fight it, the more exhausted you become. But here's the twist. The moment you stop trying to grip life so tightly, the moment you open your hands and let go of the need to command every wave, something incredible happens. Peace flows in. Imagine standing on a beach watching a surfer out in the distance. The ocean roars beneath him, waves towering like giants, unpredictable and wild. But look at his face, calm, focused, alive. He's not trying to control the wave. He knows that would be madness. Instead, he's reading it, feeling it, flowing with it. Every movement he makes is a response, not a demand. That's what acceptance looks like. It's not weakness. It's wisdom. It's realizing that you can't calm the sea, but you can learn how to ride it. When you accept that life will always have a current of its own, you stop wasting your energy on resistance. You stop saying, this shouldn't be happening, and start asking, how can I move with this? That's where your power truly lies, not in controlling the storm, but in controlling your sail. Not in predicting the wind, but in adjusting your course when it changes. Think about how many moments in life were ruined, not by what happened, but by how tightly we tried to hold on. A relationship we couldn't let evolve, a job we couldn't walk away from, a plan that fell apart and left us feeling like failures. But if you look back, you'll realize something. Most of those losses were really redirections. That job ending pushed you towards something better. That heartbreak taught you self-worth. That detour turned into your destination. Life was never against you. It was trying to move you where you needed to go, but your grip was too strong to let it. There's a kind of quiet strength that comes with acceptance. It doesn't roar. It doesn't demand. It simply breathes and adapts. When you stop resisting what you can't control, you start mastering what you can. Your mindset, your attitude, your choices, your response. You can't stop the rain, but you can dance in it. You can't force people to stay, but you can choose how to love and let go. You can't control the outcome, but you can give your best effort every single time and trust that it's enough. And here's the part that surprises most people. When you finally accept what you can't control, you don't lose power. You must gain it. Because your strength is no longer fragile, tied to things that can change or disappear. It comes from within. The world outside might be chaos, but inside you become steady, calm, unshakable. Think of a tree in the middle of a storm. The wind bends it, the rain lashes at it, but it doesn't fight. It moves with the wind. Change. It's the one thing that never stops coming. It's the storm you can't outrun. The wave you can't hold back, the rhythm that never skips a beat. And yet some people crumble the moment the music shifts, while others start to dance to the new tune as if they were born for it. The difference between the two isn't luck, and it isn't talent. The quiet, hidden strength that separates those who merely survive from those who thrive. A life is a shape shifter. One day, everything fits perfectly. The job feels right, the relationships are steady, the plan seems solid. Then, out of nowhere, the ground shifts. The rules change. What worked yesterday suddenly doesn't work today. That's the moment life looks you straight in the eye and asks, "Can you move with me?" And that question, how you answer it, determines your destiny. You see, adaptability is not about giving up your values or losing your identity. It's about keeping your essence while shifting your form. Like water, it finds a way no matter what stands in front of it, over, under, around, or through. When you're adaptable, you stop fearing change because you've become change. You stop clinging to the past and start creating from the present. Think about nature, the ultimate teacher. The strongest animals didn't survive because of brute force. They survived because they could adjust. The chameleon shifts its colors to blend with its surroundings. The bamboo bends with the wind instead of breaking against it. Even dolphins, playful and intelligent, adapt their communication and hunting patterns depending on the tides and seasons. The secret to their survival is flexibility, the ability to move with the world, not against it. Humans are no different. The world doesn't belong to the strongest or the smartest. It belongs to those who can pivot when life demands it. The ones who see opportunity in chaos. The ones who can look at a closed door and immediately start searching for another way in. History is filled with those who mastered adaptability. When the world shifted, they didn't complain. They created. When technology erased old jobs, new innovators rose to shape industries no one had dreamed of. When society said, "Can't be done," the adaptable ones said, "Watch me." They didn't wait for the perfect time. They adjusted to the time they were in and made it perfect. Adaptability is not born from ease. It's forged in moments of uncertainty. It's when your plan collapses, your comfort zone disappears, and your future seems blurry. That's when you discover just how powerful you really are. Because when you learn to move with the current instead of fighting it, you find that the current can carry you further than you ever imagined. Imagine a tightrope walker high above the ground. Every step requires balance, adjustment, awareness. A gust of wind hits. They don't panic. They shift their weight, find a new rhythm, keep moving. Life is that tightrope, and adaptability is what keeps you steady. The world may wobble beneath you, but if you can shift your center without losing your focus, you'll never fall. So many people resist change because they believe it threatens who they are. But the truth is, refusing to change is what truly limits you. When you adapt, you don't lose yourself. You expand yourself. You discover new strengths, new talents, new sides of your spirit that would have stayed hidden if everything had stayed the same. The most powerful people you'll ever meet are not those who control life, but those who cooperate with it. Think of a time when something in your life changed without warning. Maybe you lost something, Maybe a door slammed shut. Maybe the world forced you to take a new path. It hurt. It confused you. But later you realized it shaped you into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable. That's adaptability in action. The art of transforming pain into power, endings into beginnings. Every time life throws you off balance, you have two choices: resist or respond. Resistance keeps you stuck. Response keeps you growing. Adaptability isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. It's about saying, I may not have seen this coming, but I'll find a way to make it work. And once you learn that mindset, nothing can truly defeat you. Because in the end, life isn't about staying the same. It's about evolving. Every challenge is a test of your flexibility. Every twist is an invitation to grow. The world changes, always has, always will. And those who bend without breaking are the ones who leave their mark. Adaptability is not just survival. It's transformation. It's freedom. It's the magic that turns uncertainty into opportunity and change into creation. And that magic lives inside you, waiting, ready, unstoppable. Fear. It's the oldest shadow that's ever followed humanity. It's been whispering in our ears since the beginning of time. Every time we reach for something greater, fear is there, wrapping its cold fingers around our hearts, telling us to stop, to stay where it's safe. But here's the secret that most people never realize. Fear isn't a stop sign, it's a compass. It points directly toward the places where you're meant to grow, the places where your greatest potential is hiding, waiting to be found. Uncertainty breeds fear, that much is true. The unknown makes our minds spin with questions. What if I fail? What if I lose? What if I'm not enough? But those what ifs are illusions, smoke and mirrors created to keep us from stepping forward. The real question we should be asking isn't what if it goes wrong, but what if it goes very right? Because fear doesn't show up when you're doing something meaningless. It only appears when you're standing at the edge of something powerful, something that can change you. Most people spend their entire lives running from discomfort. They hide behind routine, behind excuses, behind the walls of what's familiar. They convince themselves they're being careful when really they're being trapped. But the brave ones, the dreamers, the creators, the legends, they do something different. They walk straight toward what terrifies them. They know that the only way out of fear is through it. Because on the other side of fear lies freedom. Freedom from the limitations you've built around yourself. Freedom from the voices that told you you can't, and freedom from the doubt that's kept your wings folded for far too long. Think of the first time someone decides to jump from a cliff with a parachute strapped to their back. Terrifying, right? Every instinct screams to stay on the edge, to step back to safety. But then they leap. The wind roars in their ears. The ground rushes toward them. Their heart races. And then the parachute opens. In that instant, fear transforms into awe. The panic becomes peace. The fall becomes flight. That's exactly how it works when you face uncertainty. The moment you face what scares you, it loses its power. Fear doesn't vanish. It simply changes form. It becomes fuel. Every time you do something that scares you, your world gets bigger. The things that used to paralyze you become stepping stones. Fear shrinks and you expand. The boundaries of what you believe you can do start to stretch wider and wider until you realize there are no boundaries except the ones you've accepted. Imagine a young artist who's been painting in secret for years, terrified to show their work. They worry about judgment, about rejection, about not being good enough. But one day, they decide to share it anyway. Their hands shake as they press post, but they do it. The fear feels enormous in that moment. But a day later, a stranger comments, "This painting moved me." Then another and another. Suddenly, the fear that once seemed like a wall turns into a bridge. That one act of courage changes everything. That's how fear works. It guards the doorway to your next level, testing whether you're ready to grow. And once you walk through, you realize the monster at the gate was never real. It was just your own strength, waiting to be unleashed. The truth is, fear will never completely disappear. It's wired into us. But that's not a curse, it's a gift. Fear keeps you alert. It reminds you that what you're doing matters. If you weren't afraid, it would mean you weren't stretching beyond your limits. So, when you feel fear rise up, don't fight it. Don't hide from it. Listen to it, not as a warning, but as a guide. Let it show you where your courage is needed most. Every great story you've ever heard, every invention, every discovery, every victory was built on a foundation of fear that was faced, not avoided. The astronaut who takes that first step into the void, the musician who steps onto the stage, the parent raising a child unsure of every choice. Fear walks with all of them, but it never stops them, because they understand something powerful. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision that something else is more important than fear. So the next time fear stands in your way, don't turn around. Take a breath. Step forward. Feel your heartbeat remind you that you're alive, that you have care. Because every time you walk toward fear, you reclaim a part of yourself that fear tried to keep hidden. You'll find that the moments that scare you most are the ones that shape you deepest. They build your strength, your confidence, your resilience. They turn hesitation into momentum. And when you finally look back, you'll realize that the only thing fear ever really did was show you how powerful you've been all along. If everything in life were predictable, if every day unfolded exactly as you expected, the spark that makes living exciting would vanish. There would be no surprise, no mystery, no discovery, just repetition. Life would become like watching the same old rerun over and over again, knowing every line before it's spoken. The beauty of uncertainty is that it's the birthplace of possibility. It's the space where dreams take their first breath and where reality begins to stretch beyond what we thought was possible. Every great thing that has ever existed started in uncertainty. Every dream, every invention, every love story, every triumph, all began with someone daring to step into the unknown. No one knew if it would work out, but they took the leap anyway. That's where the magic lies. Because if you already knew how the story would end, what would be the point of writing it? The thrill of life doesn't come from knowing, it comes from becoming. Imagine waking up each morning knowing exactly how your day would go. Every word, every event, every outcome already written. No twists, no detours, no moments that catch your breath. That's not life. That's a script with no soul. The power of uncertainty lies in its unpredictability. It's what gives color to the ordinary, what turns a routine moment into an adventure, what allows the unexpected to transform into the unforgettable. Think about the great explorers who set sail across oceans with no map of what lay beyond the horizon. They faced storms, doubts, and endless questions. But without that uncertainty, there would have been no discovery, no new lands, no progress. Or consider the scientist in a quiet lab, testing an idea that seems impossible, unsure if it will work, but driven by curiosity. That uncertainty is what leads to breakthroughs that change the world. Every time humanity has advanced, it's because someone stepped forward not in spite of uncertainty, but because of it. Uncertainty is not chaos. It's creation in disguise. It's the universe asking you, what do you want to build here? Every time you face the unknown, you're being invited to create something that didn't exist before. The greatest innovations, the most powerful movements, the most beautiful art, all were born from someone embracing that moment of not knowing what would happen next. But most people fear uncertainty. They see it as something dangerous, something to avoid. They cling to what's familiar, even if it limits them. They build walls around their comfort zone and call it safety. But safety, when overused, becomes a cage. The truth is, the moment you let go of needing to know everything, you start to live. You start to trust yourself. You start to believe that even if things don't go according to plan, you'll still find your way. Think about love for a moment. No one can predict how it will go. You meet someone, your heart beats faster, you take a risk, and that risk is what makes it real. It's the not knowing that makes it beautiful. The same goes for dreams. Every dream you chase comes with uncertainty. You can't see the finish line, and you don't know if you'll succeed. But when you take that first step, something shifts inside you. A light flickers on. Possibility awakens. That's the real gift of uncertainty. It keeps you moving, keeps you curious, keeps you growing. It gives you the chance to evolve beyond what you thought you were capable of. Every time you face a fork in the road, every time something doesn't go according to plan, you're not being punished. You're being redirected toward new opportunities that you couldn't have imagined before. Look at the times in your life when something unexpected happened. Maybe a door closed that you thought you needed. Maybe a plan fell apart, but didn't something else eventually take its place? Didn't it lead you to something better? Something you never saw coming? That's the hand of uncertainty gently guiding you to where you were always meant to go. When you embrace uncertainty, you stop clinging to control and start opening yourself to possibility. You allow the universe to surprise you. You allow the unknown to reveal its gifts, the unexpected conversation that changes your path, the mistake that turns into a masterpiece. The moment you thought you lost everything, only to discover you gained more than you ever imagined. Life isn't meant to be predictable. It's meant to be experienced raw, real, and unrehearsed. The unknown is not your enemy, it's your greatest ally. It's what keeps the fire burning in your spirit, reminding you that every sunrise brings a chance for something new, something extraordinary. Because in the end, uncertainty isn't the absence of direction. It's the birthplace of destiny. And when you learn to embrace it, to trust it, to move with it instead of against it, you unlock the truth that makes life worth living, that every moment holds a possibility waiting to be discovered. So, the next time life throws you into chaos, don't panic, don't run. Take a breath, smile, because that's where life begins, in the unknown. Embrace it like the adventure it is. Because when you stop fearing uncertainty, you start living fully. And when you live fully, the universe has no choice but to rise up and meet you. As long as there's uncertainty, there's hope. And as long as there's hope, there's you.